Hello and welcome to another Scottish mountain video. For today's walk I'm going to climb A Ghlas-bheinn Beinn Fhada, descending down Hunter's Ridge. If you're planning to do Hunter's Ridge, I would recommend doing this route in the reverse direction that I'm describing and showing in the video. It does involve an easy down scramble that looks a lot harder from above. But overall, the route finding is easier on the ascent up Hunter's Ridge, and the ridge on the descent was very physically demanding after a full day's walk. I explain why I did the walk in the opposite direction during the walk. The total distance for today's walk is 23 kilometres with 1,839 metres of ascent. It is expected to take around 9.5 hours to walk. Navigation, for the most part, is easy with a good path to follow, the exception being Hunter's Ridge. If you descend using the ascent path, then there is only a slight section near the summit of Beinn Fhada where the marshy and rocky terrain makes it difficult to follow the path, and the whole walk can be completed with little exposure and no scrambling. Descending down Hunter's Ridge changes this. There is a lot of exposure and some easy scrambling that looks difficult from a distance. As always, I show the full route in time-lapse and include video turn-by-turn commentary and panoramic views from along the walk. Parking is free at the Kintail Mountain Rescue Centre and you can fit around 8 to 10 vehicles. There are no height restrictions and the Morvich Caravan and Motorhome campsite is just across the road. They also have good tent pitches available. It's around a 4-hour drive from both Glasgow and Edinburgh. From the car park, head east and follow the road until you cross a bridge. Go straight ahead for 100 metres or so and then turn right at the footpath sign. After another 100 metres you'll go through a gate. Continue to follow a clear path heading north and go through another gate, and continue again to follow the path as it bends to the east. You'll descend slightly at this point. You go straight ahead at the junction shown here and then through another gate. The going starts to get a bit steeper, but nothing difficult, and it's a very nice walk as you rise up the valley here. After a small section of zigzags, there is a small cairn, and this is where the path splits, left for A Ghlas-bheinn and right for Beinn Fhada. If you're not planning to do Hunter's Ridge, then you can pick either way. For this walk, I continued up the left-hand path to small Bealach ahead, and there's a large cairn and another junction. Again I took the left path, now heading north. The path starts to get very steep in sections as you make your way up to the summit of A Ghlas-bheinn. There are a few false summits along the way before you reach the true summit. From the summit, retrace your steps all the way back down to the small cairn above the zigzags, and this time continue straight ahead, heading south. The path is fairly level for a while and you'll cross a couple of streams. I used this opportunity to fill up with water. The path starts to get steeper ahead and there are some more zigzags. Up until now, all of the path has been very clear and easy to follow. The map doesn't show a path here heading up to the summit of Beinn Fhada, only the path that goes around the rim of a large bowl. There is a good path that splits off at this point and you go off to the left, heading southeast. A little bit further on, the ground gets quite marshy and even rockier closer to the summit. It's not difficult to navigate if you keep the steep drop on your left here. There is a large windbreak and a circular trig point at the summit. The easiest way to descend is to return down the ascent path, but if you want to get the best views, then Hunter's Ridge is the way to go. Heading west from the summit, you cross a featureless plateau and it could be very difficult to navigate in cloud. There is no clear path and no features to follow. Once on the ridge path, it is for the most part easy to follow for the first 2 kilometres, and then it becomes quite difficult with the map contours not really matching up to what you see in real life. You start to descend down a narrow ridge with steep drops on both sides, heading northwest, and you want to keep to the centre, pretty much the highest part of the ridge at all times, or at least within a metre or so. You don't need to climb over every rock, you can go around some of them, but don't stray too far from the ridgeline. As you climb up some of the high points, you do wonder how easy or difficult is it going to be to descend down the other side. In this direction there are no difficult descents. This point here is where you have to do a grade 1 scramble, and in the dry it is easy and there's little exposure. It looks a lot worse as you're approaching, and again I show this in detail in the video. After the scrambling is out of the way, the navigation starts to get a lot more difficult. There's a surprising amount of up and down as you progress northeast now, and then once you reach this little top you'll bend to the right and head a bit west of north. This is the most difficult section to descend. There are vague paths at times and some steep drops. The key is to work your way northeast and down to this long channel that heads east to west. Heading west down the channel, once you get past the rocks on your right hand side you start to head northwest northwest. I filled up again with water here before passing a peat bog, and then you start heading west and descend down the ridgeline ahead. There was a faint path that I was able to follow most of the way down towards the fence line. There is a gap in the fence here, a large gate that cannot be closed, and then from here you continue west down the edge of the fence. There is another gate at this point to go through, and eventually you'll rejoin the path that you used on the way up. From here, retrace your steps back to the car park. Good morning, it's 7:45. You can see Beinn Fhada ahead, although the actual summit is out of view. I'm going to climb up this entire ridgeline that you can see ahead. Car park is just back there. You've got the Morvich caravan campsite here. So we're going to set off down this road, heading east with the campsite on your left. After you cross the river here, we're going to go straight on. It's not that far, but it's straight on just now. There's a few different streams that we cross on this walk, so there's no need to fill up with water at this point. There's a sign here showing that the hill access is straight ahead. At this point you leave the gravel track, you can see there's another sign, and we go up to the right. After coming through that gate, to go up the ridge you want to follow this fence line and head up there. It's very wet with the early morning dew, so I think I'm going to do the walk in reverse. That way I'll do the one at the back first, do Beinn Fhada second, and then come down the ridge line, and it'll give it a chance to dry up by then. I don't fancy doing a full walk with wet feet. Wasn't much fun in Beinn Fhada the other week there. When you see this marker post, you want to keep to the right, heading for that gate in the distance over there. It's a beautiful morning. Makes a change. The wind is expected or forecast to pick up later on in the day, but we'll enjoy it whilst we can. It's a nice gentle start to the walk. Really good path. The path starts to get a bit steeper, goes up the right hand side of the valley ahead, but it's well made, easy enough to make your way up. A lot of good stepping stones there, easy to cross. The path splits at this small cairn. If you want to just go and do Beinn Fhada without doing the ridge, you can just go to the right, follow the path around, it takes you up there. A Ghlas-bheinn is up on the left, so I'm going to do A Ghlas-bheinn first, make my way all the way up, and then I'll come back down to this point and then go along that path there. When you reach this large cairn, you're around 530 metres altitude. That path that I was on continues on down there. I want to turn off to the left now to go up A Ghlas-bheinn. So still 400 metres of ascent. And it's taken 2 hours to get here. And there's roughly 2 kilometres distance to the summit. It looks like you could go up there, I don't know if that's deer or people, the tracks, and go up Beinn Fhada, up on the left hand side there, and then up to that top. That takes you up to about 700 metres, and from there it's an easy walk to the summit. It would save descending down about 150 to 200 metres down that track. Something to think about. It's not far now, you can hear the winds picking up. There's about 150 metres of ascent to the summit, maybe 700 metres distance. It's a fairly easy walk. The last bit was a bit steep, but not scrambling, just a lot of big steps. There are a couple of false summits on this walk. I really was hoping this was a summit. A little bit further. At the summit of A Ghlas-bheinn. Looks like Ben A over there. And right in the distance, once again, you can see the Coolin, but they're in cloud. That's just looking down to Morvich. You can see all of the ridge. And then Ben Affa over there. Quite a long walk, that ridge. Just found a nice little place to hide out of the wind. I'll have something to drink and eat before returning back down the path. It's taken just over 3 hours to get to this point. Yeah, it's a nice spot for a picnic. Out of the wind, unfortunately out of the sun as well. A little bit cool, but nowhere near as cold as last week. So from the summit, you retrace your steps heading south-southeast and back down to that small bielach with the large cairn. Almost back at that big cairn at the little bielach just ahead. I'm going to go back down the proper path and then go up to the left. It's usually easier to ascend a mountain on a defined path rather than going cross country up a grassy slope. So we'll just go down this way here. I'm back at this small cairn, so you take a left turn here, and I've just walked for 4 hours. It's just gone past 12 o'clock, had about a 15-minute break at the summit. So we'll head up to the left, about 700 metres to go to the summit in altitude.